Hello, everybody, and welcome to BC Buckets. I'm Matthew Brune, and joining me once again is Colin Mitchell. We pulled not an all-nighter, but like for our age, it might as well have been an all-nighter. Working
I mean, I
till
don't know about you. I was up till
2
like
a.m.
7 a.m.
That's right. Colin doesn't sleep. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Colin doesn't sleep. Yeah, we need some medication for your boy over there. But here we're going to be doing winners and losers of the NBA draft. If you haven't already, check out all of our videos from the first round, covered every single pick, live streamed it. I think the live stream's up on our channel as well if you want to watch the whole thing or whatever. But we have individual videos up, so check all that out. We were going to do second round player like evaluations, whatnot, but like no offense to these guys. Like we've watched them and we know them and stuff, but like would people really enjoy that? I don't know.
I mean,
So
there's
we're
like
just gonna do
four
winners.
players that I feel like people
Yeah,
would
there's going
actually
to be
care
like
about.
3 or 4 players that end up being like actual NBA players here. So anyways, we're going to do winners and losers. It also takes into account second round, so we'll talk a little bit about that as well. And we'll start with the winners. Straight off, Jazz, Wizards, Kings, Thunder. I added the Thunder in there late, but I think these are pretty clearly like the 4 who had the best draft here. When you talk about the Jazz, we can start with them. Cody Williams at 10, who we're not the highest on Cody Williams. Now, Jazz fans found our video and they were like, "Oh, y'all have him too low. Whatnot." Maybe we do, but we're
We
not
don't.
high on Cody Williams.
We don't have him too low.
We we're not high on Cody Williams, but to get Isaiah Collier at 29 and then Kyle Filipowski at 32, I think that's incredible value. Like
Yeah,
just off rip. So
I
the
mean,
Jazz are I don't want to say they're my number one winner, but they're definitely near the top.
I feel like a similar thing with all these teams is that it's by volume of players that they were able to acquire. um, so Cody Williams obviously project. He could be something. I really do like the value that they got at Isaiah Collier at 29, just because I had him 23 in my board and he slipped a long ways because most people have him higher than where you and I even had him on our board. And then
I
to
had him
get flipped,
19 on my board, I think,
yeah, that's what I'm
originally.
saying. That's what I'm saying.
20. But yeah.
And then to get Flip in the second round, which was a complete surprise to me that he didn't go in the first round. That's incredible value in the second round for any team. So
So the Jazz, obviously, as we know, are in a rebuilding spot, top to bottom. They're going to be patient. They're going to try to get a high pick in the 2025 NBA draft. We'll see what they end up doing with Lauri Markkanen. But I think they, like I said, there is a volume aspect to this. But in terms of bang for your buck, and on my board at least,
yeah,
like I think that's pretty good. They left with on my board 18, 20, and 22 players in this class to me.
yeah,
So, high end, maybe not, but I think that you get 3 swings at it. 1 or 2 of them will end up being pretty good players on the average.
yeah,
The Wizards are the second team here. They also had a 3-player haul, starting off with Alex Starr, who was our number 1 player on our boards. Kind of, I don't want to say a tier above everybody else because I don't think he's like great per se as a prospect, but was pretty clearly our number 1. Then you go down, they got Keshawn George at the end of the first, and they got Bub Carrington at the 14th pick. I love all 3 of those. Like I know you're lower on Keshawn George.
yeah,
I think all 3 of these players got drafted basically where I have them. I have Alex Star 1, I have Bub Carrington 16, he got drafted 14, and I have Keshawn George 29, and he got drafted at 24. So
yeah. I think the obviously, if you draft Alex Sarr, that's automatically pretty much going to be a win. He's going to be a pretty good NBA player. Bub Carrington has tremendous upside, and I think that he's one of the youngest players in the draft, and he can score it. So he has to gain some weight and be able to take a little contact at the rim. But I think to get him where they did at 14 is really good. And then I'm not high on Keshawn George, but if you get a wing shooter, then you'll take a wing shooter. So
yeah, shooter, like that's what you're betting on. That's the upside, I guess, pick here is Keshawn George in terms of his shooting, his potential defense, his wingspan at 6'7".
yeah,
Yeah, we're not the highest on him, but I think in general to get him in the 20s is a good enough pick here to be in the winner's circle. All right, the Kings next up, and they had just two picks.
one pick
Uh,
actually.
Devin Carter. Oh, is
Mm-hmm.
Jamal Shed not? Is
He got
Jamal
traded to
Shed
the
on there?
Raptors. Jamal Shed's on the
Ooh.
Raptors now.
Okay, the Raptors are not on our losers pick list, but that's all right. Devin Carter alone deserves to be in the winner's circle. Number 4 on my board. I've yelled about him on our video of him. I've yelled about him when he was drafted, so I'm not going to yell about him here. Go check out our videos if you haven't already. But like Devin Carter, especially with them trading Davion Mitchell, I think is a perfect role player for this team. A team that wants to compete immediately, a team that wants to have a defensive identity. And a team that I think needs, especially with De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, you need good defenders around them. And
Yeah.
then Carter also has the ability to be a secondary creator. He has the ability to be a shooter in spot up situations. He checks every single box. I thought, and I think a lot of people thought he would go top 10 at a certain point. Like as days kept piling up, oh, could the Hornets take him? Could the Spurs take him? So on and so forth. He falls to 13. The Kings get, I think, a immediate contributor, and that's why they are in the winners circle.
Yeah, I completely agree. Piggybacking off of what you said about Davion Mitchell, I think he comes into the league already more, I guess, more refined of a player than Davion Mitchell is in terms of what he's able to do in the skill set.
Yeah.
And he's still going to be able to bring that defensive mentality and guard 1 through 3 and possibly higher as the years go on. So,
Yeah. All right. The last winner here is the Thunder, who I added Nikola Topic at 12. And then
Dylan Jones
Dylan Jones. That's right. They traded back in for Dylan Jones at 26.
and then AJ Mitchell.
Yeah, and then they got AJ Mitchell. And I I am an outlier on AJ Mitchell in terms of everybody else has him in like the 30s, maybe early 40s. I didn't buy anything watching AJ Mitchell. 56th on my board. Just I don't see. There's zero
Brutal.
separation. There's very average shooting. I don't see anything with AJ Mitchell. So push that to the side. You get Topic and Dylan Jones, and I think that's incredible. Nikola Topic. It's funny how we've kind of come, like the journey we've taken with Topic over
I
the
think it's
past few months.
because it's where he's picked. Like if he was picked,
Yeah,
like you said last night, if he was picked top 5, you'd be like, well, I don't really know. But I think he has one of the highest upsides in the draft. Obviously, as the knee injuries and everything like that. But the comp, a lot of people give him, including myself, is like an SGA type style players and be below the rim finisher, can pass the heck out of the ball, and who better to learn from than SGA himself? And he's going to kind of get a year to, assuming he doesn't play, to watch and look at that. And I think it's the perfect spot for him. And then you get Dylan Jones. You can talk Dylan Jones a little bit more, but he's just willed Weber State in a lot of games and is just a do-it-all player as well.
Yeah. Dylan Jones, I have him 32 on my board, which I said last night the consensus on him was 47th.
Mm-hmm.
Just when you aggregate all of the major outlets. So I thought I was high on him, and it turns out the Thunder are even higher on him to
Yeah.
trade up into the first round for him. The shooting is the question mark. Shot 32%. He had the ball in his hands a ton, so you wonder about how he's going to do in a different role. The defense will also be somewhat of a question mark. I think he'll lock in a bit more, with that different role, but I think it's just for these two guys who Topic and Jones. The thing about the Thunder last year is it was a lot of SGA, and then it was like, all right, hopefully Jalen Williams can kind of bail us out, or maybe Chet. Like you add playmakers to this team, I think it
Mm-hmm.
makes them even more dynamic, even better offensively, and it just makes them more versatile. I think it was Draymond Green in the postseason who said like in a series, it's kind of easy to game plan against the Thunder a little bit because of the way that they play offense, like dribble handoff type stuff and just attack
Yeah.
mismatches. Now, if you have a couple different playmakers, and they're not going to impact winning this year, but like in a couple years, if they are able to become the players that I think they are, then I think you have two more quality players that in today's basketball landscape where teams are trying not to like overpay for those like role players. If these two guys turn into role players, boom, you don't have to pay them for like 5 years. So
Yep.
I like those two picks a lot. I mean, hey, maybe AJ Mitchell hits and turns into a role player as well, but I'm not gonna bet on it. All right, let's flip it. The losers. This was a hard list. I want to give most teams in the NBA credit because in our mock draft and our big board, we weren't far off, and not saying that we are like, you know, um, how our evaluations are exactly how this is going to go per se, but in general, I think these were the losers. Oh, the losers of the draft: the Bucks, the Hornets, and the Hawks. We'll talk about
Yeah.
each one here. The Bucks are obvious. They had the
Yeah.
worst pick of this entire draft. They picked AJ Johnson, and not just did they pick AJ Johnson, they picked him at 23. And then I get on Twitter today and I see a video of the Bucks, I'm assuming GM, say to the rest of the room, "We're going to take a swing here. We're going to take AJ Johnson." And he said it as though the rest of the room was
Wasn't
like,
aware.
please don't, like, yeah, either wasn't aware or was like, please don't do that. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know about that one. And he's like, no, we're going to do it. And they're like,
Trying to
what?
galvanize them around him. Like, come on, team.
Like, this is our moment. And
Yeah.
so they took AJ Johnson, and I have him 50th on my board. I just I don't see it, at least in the next like 3 years. He's gonna have to come a long, long, long way to become a contributor. Now I will say conversely, I am high on Tyler Smith, who they took at 33. So, make of that what you will. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not high on Tyler Smith, but AJ
That's true. You,
Johnson,
you hate them both. Jeez.
I do hate them both. I mean, Tyler Smith is closer to 33 than AJ Johnson is to 23. So, AJ Johnson,
Yeah.
because he's the main reason why the Bucks are losers here, is just like if you were gonna pick a high upside player at 23, like I'd be okay with like a Pacom Dadier. I'd be okay with like even if they took like Ryan Dunn, who clearly has no offensive skill set, at least there's something there that you can grasp onto, and hopefully you can develop him. Deron Holmes,
I yelled about Isaiah Collier last night.
yeah, Isaiah Collier. So like AJ Johnson, he's fast, he can handle the ball, and but he can't shoot. He's really small. He weighs nothing. I mean, didn't play really in the NBL when a lot of these players did that were picked even past him. So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy pick, honestly. Like, honestly, crazy pick.
One of the craziest picks I've ever seen in my brief time doing this in the past 5 years. I was not expecting that at all. So yeah, AJ Johnson, and then I will say for Tyler Smith, you're lower on him than I am. I actually was quite high on him throughout this process. The shooting, I think, is legit. I think the athleticism is legit as a help side defender. We'll see how he fills out and how he rounds out the rest of his offensive game. But in total, you can't pick AJ Johnson at 23. I don't care who you pick in the second round. So
Yeah.
now the Hornets, I think we're just going to continue to stack up Hornets hate on our channel here. Every year we have a different team that hates us. And, over the years, I think last year was the Cavaliers, but was Ochai last year or 2 years ago?
I think it was
I get
2
the
years
years
ago.
mixed up. Yeah,
I
2 years
think that
ago.
was 2 years ago.
I'd have to remember who last year's was. But this year it's definitely the Hornets. And the comments on the video aren't even bad. It's not even like y'all don't know what the hell you're talking about. It's this draft sucks. Why not take a high upside swing? And I'll give you that. I guess I'll give you take a swing. All right, cool. But I would have just traded the pick or taken somebody that could help you. And because I don't think Saloon is a home run swing the way you think it is.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
basically what it comes down to. I don't think he's as good as what people make him out to be in theory.
and we have a full scouting video on him, and I forgot who we compared him to off the top of my head, but like athletic body, NBA ready body, looks like an NBA player, and I think everyone's grasping onto that way too hard and is going, okay, well, if we just develop the shooting, if we just develop the playmaking, if we just develop the IQ, he'll be a great player. And I guess that could happen. He could be a Giannis, but right now he hasn't really shown anything in the NBL, especially shot creation wise. He's kind of right now just sitting in the corner waiting for something to hit his hands and them telling him to shoot. Everything has to be set up for him. Defensively, he has the body for it, but mentally he's not there yet. And I keep saying this, he's 2 years away from being 2 years away. So I don't really see in the near future how he's going to be an NBA player.
You said NBL. He didn't play in the NBL. He played in France this past year. But
did I say NBL?
I thought you did. You definitely did. Don't gaslight me and nothing.
I thought I only said that
realistic.
about AJ Johnson.
But yeah, Salon. I think we did Salon and Cody Williams. So
Cody
that was our
Williams, yeah.
comparison video. But yeah, I just very, very low usage in the French league. Just the athleticism there. I think the competitiveness is there, but overall the skill set is not there to take him at this spot. I don't care if you're taking an upside swing. I just I would honestly rather take Cody Williams. I would honestly rather take Matas Buzelis.
Cody Williams at 6 is crazy
I'd
too.
rather take Devin Carter. I'd rather like it's a shame Castle and Holland didn't fall to y'all. Yes, because I think those would both be better picks. But I would take any of those players. Hell, I would take like Devin Carter. I'd take Bub Carrington. I would
That
take
you're
any of
just
these
going
guys
in right now. Bub
over.
Carrington at 6? Let's chill out for a
I would
second.
love Bub. I would love Bub at the 2. LaMelo,
You want to take him at
Bub,
6? You want to
Brandon
take him at
Miller.
6? You want to take him at 6?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I
Jeez.
trust him more than I trust Tajon. Okay. The other loser is the Hawks. Now, Hawks fans, don't yell at us
Yet.
yet.
Listen to what we have to say.
Y'all did almost look. Y'all got the number 1 pick in a bad draft. Let's just call it what it is. Let's call a spade a spade. It probably is the worst. It's at least the worst draft since 2013, maybe the worst of the century. But all you had to do was take Alex Sarr. All you had to do was take Alex Sarr. And you're not on this list. Like, if you take Alex Sarr, you're probably in the winners list. We see it with Sarr where he's number 1 on both of our boards. He's the number 1 consensus across the board. But for some reason, Risa Shea surpassed him throughout this process and like recently in this process. And you took him. And we're both high on Risa Shea. 2 and 3 on our boards. We like him. But at the number 1 pick, I just think this is a mistake not taking Alex Sarr.
Yeah, it feels like I feel like the floor is just not as high, and you're betting on
not nearly as high.
and you're
Not
betting on
nearly
the upside here, whereas I think Alex Sarr has just as much upside and a way higher floor. Because if Zachary Shea doesn't work out to what you think he can be at number 1, then he's just going to be like a guy that defends and shoots in the corner. Like that's very possibly what he could be. Whereas Alex Sarr right now already is kind of a dynamic defender who just needs some offense, a little bit more offense to become that star type player. And Risa Shea has a lot more things that he needs to round out in his game to become a star type player.
And if they had taken Castle, I would have also put them in losers category. Even though I like Castle. Like I just think
I think it had to be Sarr.
to take Sarr here. Like it's just that's the pick. This is not a good draft to be gambling on a guy like Risa Shea, who, like we said, I think the floor is pretty low with him. Like I don't love the floor with him the way I really like the floor with Alex Sarr. I even like the floor of Stephon Castle more than Risa Shea. Like Risa Shea has a very wide range of outcomes. You are placing a big bet on him being like an all-star wing. And I think it could happen. Again, he's number 2 on my board. I like him as a player. I like him as a prospect. You can go watch our video on him. But just take Alex Sarr. You should just take Alex Sarr. Just make life easy on yourself. That's all I'll say. All right. Anything else? Do you want to talk Bronny James for a bit? No? No.
Shout out Bronny James. Shout out Bronny James.
Shout out Bronny. And LeBron James. If you're watching.
I want the broadcast to say LeBron James and LeBron James Jr. I do not. I need to hear legal names.
Honestly, I'm kind of tired of the name Bronny.
Yeah, it almost sounds like he's like a child.
Bronny. Yeah. All right. Anyways, that's all we got for today. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Leave us a like, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already. And we will talk to y'all later.